I walked into my law office one morning and realized someone had deliberately exposed my private workspace to the entire firm. They wanted to embarrass me. What they didn't know was that I'd already chosen the most humiliating revenge possible, one that required zero confrontation and left them completely powerless. If you've ever been disrespected by someone who thought they were smarter, cleaner, or more powerful than you, hit like, subscribe, and settle in. Because this story proves that sometimes the quietest revenge hurts the most. I used to be a partner at a law firm, a real one. Not an associate, not a junior. A partner, years of late nights, impossible deadlines, and razor-thin margins of error had earned me that title. And for the most part, the firm ran on mutual respect, except for Chad. Now, Chad wasn't incompetent. He wasn't stupid, and that somehow made him worse. Chad was the kind of man who believed professionalism had a look, a shape, a texture, and apparently my desk offended him. You see, my desk is cluttered, stacks of documents, copies of briefs, annotated motions, notes layered on notes, uneven piles, organized chaos. But here's the thing, I knew exactly where everything was. Every document had a place in my mind. I could reach for the right page without thinking. It was efficiency, not disorder. Chad didn't see it that way. At first, it was small comments. "Oh wow?" he'd say, laughing lightly during partner meetings. "Looks like a paper tornado hit your office." At firm events, holiday parties, mixers, he'd grin and add, "I don't know how you find anything in there." I'd lose my mind. Each time people chuckled, not maliciously, but not kindly either. I smiled. I quoted Einstein. If a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind, of what, then, is an empty desk a sign? Polite laughter. Chad's smile would tighten. He wasn't getting the reaction he wanted, and that's when the behavior escalated. Our offices lined the inside wall of the building. Each one had a long window beside the door, facing the hallway and cubicles outside. The windows had blinds, and everyone kept them closed. Privacy mattered. One morning, I arrived at work and noticed my blinds were open. No big deal. I closed them. The next morning, open again. My desk, every paper, every stack, on full display for anyone passing by. I closed them, day after day, for 2 weeks. Each night I left them shut. Each morning they were open. At first, I assumed it was the cleaning crew, but something didn't touch, so I checked. Other offices, still closed. Same as always. No accidents, no mistakes, just mine. And then it clicked. Chad arrived early. Very early. Early enough to stroll the hallways alone. Early enough to open my blinds. The realization hit like ice water. This wasn't teasing anymore. Calculated. Public. He wanted people to see my desk. To judge me. To laugh. To feel superior. I considered confronting him. Being the adult. Having a reasonable conversation. But then I thought, why should I give him the satisfaction? Instead, I chose petty revenge. Years earlier, before I even joined the firm, we'd taken a group trip to a nearby lake. I dug through old archives, photo folders, dusty memories, and then I found it. The photo. Chad, wearing a backward baseball cap, standing beside a female employee. Flexing, except he had skinny arms, no biceps, no definition. He looked ridiculous. Not criminal, not obscene, just profoundly unrespectable, the kind of image a man like Chad never wanted seen. I smiled. I printed it. Then I printed it again, and again, full A4 size, color copies. On the back, I wrote, "Please do not open my blinds. I prefer to keep them closed. Also, if you remove this photo, I will put up another. I've made multiple copies." That evening, Before leaving, I taped the photo at eye level on the inside of my blinds. Picture facing outward. Note facing me. As long as the blinds stayed closed, no one would ever know. But if someone opened them, everyone would see Chad flexing, failing that night. I barely slept, giddy, nervous. The next morning, I walked down the hallway toward my office. My blinds were closed. For a moment, I thought, maybe he stopped. Then I opened my door. The photo was gone. Just a torn piece of tape remained. Someone had ripped it off, but the blinds, still closed. I smiled. I retaped a new copy that night. Next morning, gone again, blinds untouched. I didn't put up a third. And from that day on, no one ever opened my blinds again. There was no confrontation, no apology, no admission, just silence, the kind that screams defeat. Chad never mentioned my desk again, never joked, never smirked, and I knew, every time he walked past my office, he remembered that photo, the risk, the humiliation waiting just inches away. Justice didn't need witnesses. It just needed leverage. People like Chad don't stop when you ask nicely. They stop when the cost becomes personal. My desk stayed messy. My blinds stayed shut, and my dignity stayed intact. If this story made you smile, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. And what's the most satisfying silent revenge you've ever seen or dreamed of pulling off? Because trust me, we've got plenty more where this came from.